We are pleased to welcome Mitch McNutt to our Aeroshat studios here at Telile Community Television. Mitch, thank you very much for joining me on Telile 24/7 today.
Oh, it's just a pleasure. It's a beautiful day in Richmond County, so glad to be here.
And Cape Breton Family Place Resource Center does have its offices and locations and services offered not just in your main office in Sydney, but all the way around the island. So can you tell me a little bit about what the Resource Center does, where it's located, and just give a little bit of background for folks who might not know it so well?
Sure, we're located right around the island, Adam, and as you mentioned, we are in Sydney, but we also have an office in Sydney Mines. We have an office up in the north of the island in a little community called New Haven, which might be of recognition to some folks.
On the way to Neils Harbor.
You pass the girls in Neils Harbor and you'll hit New Haven.
Yes.
Absolutely. We also have an office in Bedeque. We have one in Inverness. We have one in Port Hawkesbury, which is actually on the move. It's on the move to Lennox Passage. So we'll soon be, sometime this month, July, we'll be in that Lennox Passage office. So yeah, lots of locations to service our families and the various groups that we offer.
And it's helpful to know, too, you talk about that Port Hawkesbury office moving to Richmond County, to Lennox Passage.
Yeah.
So Cape Breton Family Place Resource Center has had that presence in the Strait Area for many years.
Yep.
Why do you think it's important, beyond just simply reaching out to different parts of Cape Breton Island, why do you think it's important to service this specific area, the Strait of Canso, and to provide these kinds of services?
Sure. So we are Cape Breton Family Place Resource Center. So servicing the families of Cape Breton is our raison d'etre. And so having that office or that location down in this part of the world is exceptionally important to us. We want to be more than just in our name. We truly want to live having services available to families right across the island. And a big part of that, Adam, is us coming to you. It's not you coming to us. And in the us coming to you, we really lower that barrier for a lot of people that we would service, whether it's through one of our home visiting programs or through one of our group offerings. Really want to make that transportation piece as minimal a barrier to participation as possible. So having that office in Lennox Passage is just so going to help us to continue to offer services to the Richmond County area well into the future.
One of the reasons that we have you here is to talk about a program that's been set up by the Resource Center to help single fathers. And it actually has a local director, someone that folks might recognize, Mitch David from here in Isle Madame. He's the program coordinator. Can you tell us a bit about this program and the importance and the need for this program for single fathers at this time?
And so actually one of the things that I'll point out is it's a dads group, and we would very much welcome dads that are not single fathers as well. But yeah, we do feel it's exceptionally important to support dads and in their role as parent. Something that perhaps has not always had the support that we feel that we can so offer. I think in bringing dads together in a way that we can focus on parenting, I believe that the strengths that group will bring together will really offer a tremendous amount of support to the participants. I think that, in addition to some of the resources that we'll bring, chiefly in the wonderful facilitators that we have that work for Family Place and are part of the Family Place team, I think we can really reach out into the Richmond County community and really help dads really get in touch with some of the supports that may not have always existed.
Now, I'm just curious what kind of programming will be offered within this dad's program. You talk about regular get-togethers. and supports you just mentioned, but
Yeah.
what kind of supports could be offered through this program?
Absolutely. So one of the great things about coming together in Cape Breton is we'll do what we always do when we come together as a group in Cape Breton. We'll come together and have the opportunity to network socially.
Sure.
So we'll start there, and in the networking socially, we'll definitely have a bite to eat and maybe a cup of tea to go along with it. But in addition to that lovely welcome and hospitality that we so try to participate in, really, as Cape Bretoners, in addition to that hospitality piece, as I previously mentioned, we know that people will come to us with all kinds of strengths. We know that people come to us as the experts in their own lives. A big part of this coming together of dads and people in that role of dads is for them to tell us what their needs are. So really starting a group in and around a needs assessment piece. What is it that brings us together? Are there commonalities here? Are there needs that the group's presenting that we can all connect around, and how do we explore those, and how do we help you navigate maybe the systems that are out there to support you in your role as a dad? In addition to that, as I said, Adam, we offer some just excellent facilitators of programs, and those facilitators have all kinds of training and tools, so they have the ability to bring in all kinds of things that we really hope that the dads group will find supportive. So absolutely bringing forward almost curriculum type elements of I'm a dad whose partner is expecting a child. Well, I don't know anything about newborn children. Well, we have some lovely resources in and around what to expect when you're going to be a new dad, and some real basics around basic care. How do you care for a little one? And a lot of times in caring for that little one, that's the most supportive thing you can possibly do for your partner. Also as children age, and I'm a dad, and as you mentioned, perhaps I'm the chief caregiver in my child's life. Well, what if that child wakes up one morning and decides that school's no longer an option for them and they just don't want to go to school no more? How do you deal with that as a father in a way that's not maybe detrimental even to the relationship that you have with the child? How do you deal with that in a positive relationship building way that results in the child feeling supported in what was otherwise maybe a school reluctance situation? Just to use as an example of one of the things that comes up in parents' lives periodically. Yeah, absolutely.
It seems like the approach that this Fathers Program is taking, and the approach that Cape Breton Family Place Resource Centre is taking overall, is that parenthood and fatherhood in particular is not a one-size-fits-all situation. Mm-hmm. There are different experiences with the children, different challenges that the children face, and different challenges that the parents themselves face. That seems to be the way that you folks are approaching it. Is that the case?
Yeah, I would think in many ways, Adam, I would completely agree. I think the one approach that I think that all would agree on is that fathers hold the well-being of their children very close to their hearts. And the way in which that support plays out can be very different, and where the needs are and the need for resources are in those situations can really vary from family to family. But fathers loving their children and wanting to see their children have as full and wholesome a life as possible, I don't think that's something that necessarily varies a great deal.
And you and I were talking just before the cameras started rolling about how fatherhood is sometimes connected to men's mental health issues and also to stereotypes that often follow the role of fatherhood, especially in rural parts of Atlantic Canada. The idea that a man of certain cultural background or certain rural stock is just expected to take a deep breath and keep going. So do you find that a program like this helps to destigmatize this type of thing, to encourage even one or two people out there watching right now to say, you know what, maybe this is for me, maybe there is some place that people will listen to what I have to say and listen to the problems that I have with this?
Yeah, Adam, I think absolutely. There's kind of a subject area that we could have an ongoing series on in many ways, as we were sort of discussing before the camera started rolling. Boys don't cry, man up. Yeah. I mean, the sayings can go on and on and on, which basically reinforces the stereotype that a man's man should ignore whatever it is they're feeling and stick to it, stay at it. Don't break to assess maybe how you're feeling about it. Absolutely. I think the group does address those that kind of stigma of fatherhood, in the sense that we very much are hoping to offer a space where men can absolutely address some of the feelings they might be having, and some of those feelings may well be feelings of vulnerability, Adam. They might not be, rugged individualist sorts of feelings. Yes. Yeah, lots of room for men to feel those things too. Mm-hmm. But absolutely, to be human is to feel vulnerable at times, and there's not always spaces for men to sort of explore those feelings as well. So many of the places where men would traditionally gather, particularly in our Cape Breton, often involve alcohol. Yes. Often, and absolutely, I personally like to go to the pub myself. Is that the place I should go when I'm feeling all sorts of things that might include vulnerability? Perhaps not. Perhaps there should be some spaces where I can explore some of the things I'm experiencing and feeling that aren't centered around that. I think some of the other places that men traditionally would gather, not necessarily the best space to really have some serious conversations about what it means to be a parent and what it means to be a dad. Yeah. Nothing beats the value of a safe space for a conversation like this. Yeah. So with that in mind, can you tell me about the progress of the program locally? Have these groups started meeting yet? Or if they haven't, how can people get involved? So yeah, we have started, Adam. We started a couple of weeks ago, and we've had some participants out, and we've absolutely had the opportunity to have some really lovely conversations. And it's not all serious kinds of things where you feel like you have to come in and wear your emotions on your shirt sleeve. Very much as you suggest, trying to be as safe a space as possible, really allow people to come as they are, and really, once again, recognizing that people are the experts in their own lives. We've started the group at Our Lady of Assumption Church Hall, which is just down the road from where we're sitting right now. Yes. And have been doing that at 1:30 on Tuesdays, weekly. As soon as our Lennox Passage office is up and running, we've got a lovely, comfortable space with some couches that folks can make themselves at home on, and we'll be moving the group to that location as soon as our Lennox Passage office is sanded and painted and has some molding up and a few things plugged into walls. So. Thinking towards first week in August for that. All right, so that's coming up soon. We'll look forward to seeing the progress there. Yeah. And I just wonder now, has there been cooperation in terms of getting programs like this off the ground
with, for example, the Provincial Department of Health and Wellness, which now has a more keen focus on mental health issues as well too. Are you getting any help from the provincial or federal governments, even in terms of just being able to have space set aside or certain programs delivered? Does Cape Breton Family Place Resource Centre have that kind of a relationship with these levels?
We absolutely do have a relationship at those levels. They would be funding partners of ours. And recognizing the importance of parents and well-resourced parents in our communities is absolutely one of the priorities that we've always felt with our federal and provincial partners. So absolutely feel that support from those departments, Adam.
All right, good to hear. We've covered a lot of ground in a short time about all of this, Mitch, as I thought we might. Did you have anything else you wanted to add just before we wrap up here?
No, Adam, really want to thank you for having me down, for the opportunity to sort of speak about the men's group or the dads group, and to kind of get the word out into the community. And really looking forward to seeing this group grow in the coming months and years. Family Place is very committed to seeing this support continue on in the Richmond County community, and so our intention is to be at this for the foreseeable future. So.
Well, it's our pleasure to have this conversation with you and to hear all this information that the program is up and running and it'll settle into the new office in Lennox Passage. So we wish you all the best for all of that. And in the meantime, thank you, Mitch McNutt, for joining me today on Telile 24/7.
Perfect. Thank you, Adam.
All right. Mitch McNutt is the director of Cape Breton Family Place Resource Centre. We've been speaking to him here at our studios at Telile Community Television in Arishat.